and gentlemen of the jury, I would like you to imagine a family consisting of 2 parents and a son. Now, imagine that those parents divorced, leaving that father only his son and that son only his father. But at 3 in the morning, this father receives a phone call that his beloved son has been gravely injured. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Grady and I represent the plaintiff, and I work for Grady and Company. And for my client, he doesn't have to imagine, because this is his reality. Because Smithville School District and Dalton Fisher were negligent, Pat Reynolds, Peyton's son, is in a coma from which he may never wake up. I will present 3 witnesses, 2 fact witnesses, Peyton Reynolds and Avery Harris, as well as Bailey Thompson, an expert witness. As you will learn from my witnesses, Dalton Fisher, a teacher at Smithville High School, was conducting a field trip, or was chaperoning a field trip for the first time in his career. Fisher was chaperoning a trip of 20 students to the 2013 Metropolitan Youth Leadership Conference, and that took place from September 27th to the 30th, 2013. Fisher received permission from school authorities to conduct the trip as the only chaperone for those 20 students, despite having never chaperoned before in his career. Pat, who as you will hear, suffers from dizzy spells and is on medication for that, but they can also be assuaged by food. And he was having a dizzy spell on the evening of September 27th, and so he left his room to go get help for Mr. Fisher. And when he couldn't find Fisher in his room, he resorted to leaving the hotel to go find food to help with his condition. You will hear how Pat and his roommate, Avery Harris, attempted to get food in many different safe ways. All of those ways were either unavailable or directly blocked because of Fisher. So, Pat was forced to take matters into his own hands, and he left the hotel due to his medical emergency in an attempt to get food. At around 11:40 p.m. that night, Pat climbed and fell off of a wall and is now in a coma as a result of that fall. As the judge will explain to you, for me to prove that Dalton Fisher and Smithville School District were negligent in this case, I must show that the 4 elements of negligence are present in this case. And as the judge will explain to you, those elements are that there was a duty, a breach of the standard of care of that duty, that the breach was the proximate cause of injury, and that there were damages resulting from the injury. Now, nobody will argue that there was a duty and that there were damages. That leaves only breach and proximate cause for me to prove to you. So, to prove that there was a breach of the standard of care of that duty, you will hear Avery Harris testify that he and Pat attempted to find Mr. Fisher due to a medical emergency, and Fisher was unavailable to the students that he was in charge of watching at that time. And that shows a clear breach of the duty on Fisher's part. The breach of school policy for trips regarding trips off school grounds with the ratio of students to chaperones, along with the breach of standard procedure in training Dalton Fisher that I will prove to you, demonstrates the school breaching that duty. Following that, I must prove that the breach of the duty was the proximate cause of the injury. I believe that Fisher's lack of proper training and his unavailability, forcing Pat to leave his room, is the primary reason that Pat fell off the wall, and I believe that my witnesses will prove this for you. The defense will claim that they are entitled to what's known as a safe harbor inference. As the judge will inform you, a safe harbor inference is an inference requiring 5 main elements to be met. If all of these elements are met, then the defense will be entitled to the inference of no negligence. However, if even one of the elements of that inference is not met, then the defense forfeits that inference. One element, as the judge will tell you, is that the school had a reasonable policy regarding field trips off school grounds, and that policy was followed during this sort of incident. As you will learn, the school had a policy of at least 1 chaperone for every 15 students, but the trip was allowed to continue with 1 chaperone for 20 students, clearly violating school policy. While the defense will argue that they had good reason to break school policy, the evidence will clearly show that the policy was not followed and that there wasn't sufficient reasoning to endanger the lives of these children by breaking policy. As the judge will explain, we, as the plaintiff, bear the burden of proof in proving negligence. During the proceedings of this case, I would like each of you to think about the 4 elements of negligence: duty, breach, proximate cause and damages. And when I have proven each of these to be present in this case, I would like you to mentally check it off. Once all 4 elements are checked off, the judge will explain to you that you have your answer as to whether or not Dalton Fisher and Smithville School District were negligent. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of this case, I will come back before you and ask for financial compensation to Peyton Reynolds. I would like to leave you now by thanking you very much for taking time out of your busy lives to be here with us today.